Hi, welcome back to the ESOMAR TV studio. I am joined by Natalie and Martin, who are two of the people of the project. One of the projects that was submitted for the ESOMAR Foundation. The full presentation of that you're going to see tomorrow here on ESOMAR TV. But we thought, why not chat a little bit beforehand and find out, because it's an incredibly inspiring project. It's an incredibly important topic. For that purpose, for one, Natalie, maybe you can tell us a little bit about who you are and the agency and kind of how you got into this.
Sure. So Forcier started in 2011 in South Sudan, right before independence. And we specialize in working in difficult environments and challenging environments. So our goal is to try and bring really rigorous, high-quality research in places where people think that's generally not possible. So we started in South Sudan, and then we moved into Somalia. We started in Congo a few years ago. And now we're working throughout Africa and the Middle East with 12 different country offices.
It's incredibly inspiring. It's so brave that you went to the areas where it needs the most insights and it's the hardest to reach. So thank you for doing that. Is there a specific reason that drove you to go in that direction, or you live there, or?
Well, one of the things that we aim to address in our work is that we really feel that the development and humanitarian community can benefit from high quality research and making sure that policies and programs are evidence-based and data-driven. And so we decided to go into these markets and try and fill that gap so the decision makers have the information that they need.
That's fantastic, thank you. And Martin, you are involved specifically in a project that has to do with female hygiene products in the Congo, if I remember correctly. Can you tell us a little bit about this project and what is the situation and what did you find out from it?
Sure. So the project started in 2016 and in collaboration with Catholic Relief Services. And the situation was that Catholic Relief Services had a big program to support girls going to school, and they were distributing grants. And what they found is that even though they were giving these grants, there were some girls missing school every month for a few days. So they were wondering what was happening, and they started talking with the girls, and after some time they discovered that menstruation was keeping them from going to school. So they actually reached out to us because they didn't have any data, and there is very little research on this topic in the DRC and elsewhere in Africa. So this is how the whole project started. So we first worked in Bandaka, which is in Equator province in northwestern DRC, with a large large survey of girls, female tutors, and boys. And what we found was very interesting is the first core result is that 27% of girls in school missed at least one day of school during the last 3 months because of menstruation, and 10% of girls each month miss at least one day of school because of menstruation. So this result shows that school absenteeism is linked with menstruation, that there is a group of girls missing school every month because of this. Other very interesting results is that we found an urban and rural divide, and the fact that accessing menstrual hygiene products was linked with income and with where you live, because accessibility is much more difficult in rural areas. So the sanitary napkins are much more available in cities, while in rural areas, girls usually use a torn piece of clothes, for example, for 90% of them. And this has consequences, because when they use a product which is not actually made for menstruation, there is, for example, a bigger fear of leaking in school, which can prevent them from going to school as well because of this fear. But we also found that pain was the main cause of school absenteeism. So then we shared these results with CRS, and they managed to fund with UNICEF a second project in 2017 in 3 areas, so around Kinshasa, semi-urban, in rural areas in southern DRC, in Okatanga, and in displaced camps in North Kivu in eastern DRC. And the goal was to compare these 3 areas and see if the knowledge and attitudes and practices of girls were similar, what were the differences, and what could be done in these different contexts. And so we found that, of course, there were a lot of there were some similarities on knowledge, that girls have very limited knowledge on menstruation. For example, the concept of menopause is very little known, even among the female tutors, but also some differences, while in the displaced camps, the situation is really concerning about girls going to school. We have huge numbers about 40% of girls missed at least one day of schools during the last 3 months because of menstruation. So this number is very high compared to other areas. And yeah, other very interesting results that we shared with CRS and UNICEF to continue the research.
I can imagine you have probably experienced some obstacles while doing this research. Are you at liberty to share how the process went when you were trying to actually, for example, speak to these girls or find out actually the real situation?
Yeah, of course. So when you measure school absenteeism linked with menstruation, we started designing the questionnaire, and we found that girls, during the pilot, we found girls that were just saying that they were sick, and they didn't want to share that it was menstruation, which was the reason of school absenteeism. So we designed the questionnaire in a way that you had the first questions were a way to, like, as an icebreaker, just to, like, put the girl at ease, and then we were asking the question several times in different ways, and this is how we managed to build this indicator. And so the question didn't arrive, right away, but after 50 questions, and after, like, really, like, reminding the girl about, you have to feel comfortable about this question, about what we are doing. But yeah, of course, the social taboo is very strong. We also found that in Okatanga during our research last year, that the girls were really felt really ashamed talking about that, and this is a result in itself, that this social taboo has to be overcome. But we also found that girls and tutors really wanted to talk about it, and really wanted to share their experiences, because they finally had the chance to say something about it, and not being considered. Because one of the main issues also is that once the girl starts menstruating, she's seen as, like, how can I say, like, ready to get married, for example, in some areas. So she becomes, like, she really, in the mind of, like, the family, she becomes like a woman, and then she's destined for, like, other things, which is also why, like, for example, like, she has to leave school at some point, because the parents will say, oh no, she has to get married, but also she's also more locked at home, and she's not allowed to see boys anymore in some cases, because the parents just fear that there will be, like, a pregnancy. So this is also, like the social taboo was, of course, really important, and we had to design the study very carefully to respond to this.
And as Natalie mentioned, the most important thing is the impact and the change that comes out of it. If you can very quickly summarize how can maybe this help the situation and the girls?
So we really at the starting phase, because we didn't have solid numbers in Africa and in DRC with large samples. So this is what we're offering now to CRS and UNICEF, like co-indicators, and they can actually start advocating for this and say, these are solid numbers. And we found that this is actually, like, something we have to work on. Now they're not working on, like, specific programs, but they more, like, want to include menstruation in other programs like education, like health, for example.
Thank you both so much for the really, really inspiring work that you do and for making a difference. It's really just, thank you, really. I cannot say that enough. And thank you for coming by and telling us about this. And please watch the presentation tomorrow. It's incredibly, incredibly important. Thank you both. Thank you.